Oregon fans, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. I'm your host, Max Torres, publisher and lead editor of Ducks Digest, covering the Oregon Ducks on Fan Nation, part of the Sports Illustrated network. I just got back into Long Beach today, and the news doesn't stop, and there was no shortage of things to talk about. Wanted to get into a quick breaking news episode of the podcast. Kind of got some big stuff to talk about, and that is the report from Matt Zenitz of On3 that Oregon wide receiver Seven McGee intends to enter the transfer portal. Like I said, referencing Matt Zenitz's report from On3, he also said that Seven McGee isn't currently with the team, and he's expected to enter the transfer portal after the window opens in early December. So just want to be super upfront about this. I've been trying to reach out to some of my sources, talk to some people. This hasn't been confirmed just yet, but James Crepea of the Oregonian also reported the news and confirmed the news on his end. So I'm sure we'll talk to Dan Lanning tonight, and he will discuss this situation, or he'll get asked about it. But so I'm just sharing the report and giving some of my thoughts on the matter. I think it's also worth mentioning that Seven McGee did not travel with the team to Berkeley this past weekend in Oregon's 42-24 win over the Cal Golden Bears. So that was a little bit interesting because he hasn't been hurt at all this season. So that would also lead credence to this report from Matt Zenitz about Seven McGee. And let's see, just to give some more background on McGee and kind of his role so far this season. He's played in every game for Oregon except for that most recent game against Cal. He's caught 11 passes for 67 yards, and he has also contributed as one of the team's primary kick returners, returning 6 kicks for 99 total yards. So not a ton of production from McGee so far this season. You'll remember that he came to Oregon as a member of the class of 2021 as a 4-star all-purpose back. But in 2021, last season, he saw his role change a little bit. He transitioned over to wide receiver to help the Ducks there amid some depth concerns after Johnny Johnson got hurt. Jalen Redd wasn't available. Micah Pittman had entered the transfer portal at that point before he ultimately ended up at Florida State. So we saw Seven play some more wideout last year and do some more work in the return game on special teams. I think he did some stuff with punts as well. But yeah, we haven't really seen him be able to carve out a super significant role so far in his time at Oregon. It's been a primary rotation of Troy Franklin, Chase Cota, Chris Hudson as well. Those have been some of the main guys that have gone in. Dante Thornton as well has seen some playing time. He saw some playing time in this most recent game against Cal after Chase Cota got hurt. Spoke about it a little bit on my show yesterday with Ryan Winter of Sports Chat 503 in our upon further review show of Oregon's win over Cal, but no update of yet on Chase Cota, Oregon's number 2 wide receiver. After he exited the game against Cal. But like I said, similar to this situation, we'll probably get an update from Dan Lanning on that injury and kind of what's going on with Chase Cota, maybe a little bit of a timeline if he'll be available against Colorado, but I don't think they necessarily need him against Colorado. But back to Seven, I think it's an interesting development because another reason that it's interesting is because he had intended to enter the transfer portal prior to the season. And then, Lanning and some of the staff talked to him and ended up convincing him to stay at Oregon. So just kind of been a whirlwind of a season, I guess. And then now you see this report about him planning to enter the transfer portal is certainly interesting, just given the sequence of events. But he's a super unique player. I think that, 5'8", 180, he added a little bit to his frame in this offseason. Heading into the 2022 season. And I thought that he was one of those players that I think was the most poised for success in the new offense. Obviously, you see how much success Oregon's offense is having under Kenny Dillingham, which is a system that prioritizes getting guys involved in space and getting the playmakers the ball. But we just haven't necessarily seen the production from him from that standpoint so far this season. So that's another reason why this is just a little bit of a head scratcher. Oregon's depth taking a little bit of a hit here if this does intend to come to fruition with Seven McGee. One thing I did want to share, this came up yesterday. Seven McGee posted this on Instagram. If you guys are watching on YouTube, youtube.com/Oregon Football Max Torres is where you can find us. This is a post that has since been taken down, I do want to say, but I thought it was notable, which is why I screenshotted it. But it's a post, pictures of Seven McGee, and the caption says, "Lost faith in me, but the ride isn't over. Second chapter is finished, but a new beginning awaits." And then you'll notice that the location says, "One day you will miss me." So I feel like that would support this storyline. But like I said, this has been taken down, and Seven hasn't come out and said anything. But this report came out, so I just wanted to get on here and talk about it a little bit. And I think another thing with this news, or the report rather, just talking a little bit about Oregon's wide receiver depth and kind of where this leaves the Ducks if this does end up, for that matter, being true. It leaves Oregon with 10 scholarship wide receivers on the roster. We talked about Troy Franklin, Chase Cota, Chris Hudson, Dante Thornton. You also have Isaiah Brevard from the 2021 class, Justice Lowe, Kyler Casper, Isaiah Crocker. I'm trying to think if I am missing anybody. Let me pull up this Oregon roster and just see what other guys I might be missing, because I don't want to leave anybody out, because someone could see an increase in snaps or a bigger role once we get an update on this report. Other wide receiver to keep in mind here for Oregon, they got Caleb Chapman, who is the transfer wide receiver out of Texas A&M. And we haven't seen him a whole lot so far this year after transferring. Looks like he's still, trying to kind of find his role, but he's been Josh Delgado is another wide receiver that's been at Oregon for a while, but he's still trying to carve out his role for Oregon. So I think Oregon's wide receivers are definitely in a really good spot, especially when you compare it to how they looked last year. You lose Devin Williams, who tries to take a shot at the NFL after he had really been coming on strong as the number one wideout for Oregon last year. But you lost him, you lost Johnny Johnson, you lost Jalen Redd, you lost Micah Pittman. So given all the talent that they lost, I thought they did a really good job addressing this wide receiver room, and there's a lot of talent in the room that is still waiting to get a little bit more involved. When Chase Cota went out with that injury against Cal, Dante Thornton saw a lot of work for the rest of that game. Was hoping to see a little bit more from him, but I think he has a ton of talent, and I hope that we get to see a little bit more from Dante, more of Dante as the season progresses. So what else can we add here? I think the other thing with Seven that's interesting is that a lot of people had made the comparisons of Seven McGee to DeAnthony Thomas. And I think that those maybe weren't the fairest of comparisons to make. I see the similarities, but I also think they're a little bit different. And I think that there was a lot of excitement around Seven, because I thought that he was that kind of playmaker that could really be, the next DeAnthony Thomas, but like the next Seven McGee. Like, you recruit playmakers, these fast twitch guys that can do a little bit of everything like Seven. And I think that you want recruits to be saying, I want to be the next Seven McGee when I go to Oregon. Or, I feel like they're still waiting for that premier talent. And maybe Troy Franklin's that guy right now, because he's the best wide receiver they've had in a while, maybe since Dylan Mitchell or Darren Carrington. Guys like that really solidify themselves as go-to options in this passing offense, and this offense at Oregon that is finally exciting again and has put up more than 40 points in 7 straight games. So I think, when we'll see what happens here, but, I think the expectation is that this news is going to become official sooner rather than later. Maybe even as soon as this evening on Monday, as I record this. It's 1:45 in the afternoon Pacific time here on the West Coast. But Dan Lanning is scheduled to speak with the media in Eugene at 6:45 tonight, and that is usually live streamed on the Go Ducks Twitter. Go Ducks Twitter and Go Ducks YouTube. So make sure you guys tune in to that to see what Lanning has to say on the Cal game, final remarks on the Cal game, and then looking ahead to Colorado. But also, obviously, I'm sure he's going to get asked about this news, this report around Seven McGee, and some speculation that he could be entering the portal once the transfer portal window opens in early December. So it's just an interesting deal with this is the era of football that we live in with the transfer portal, and players do it. It's not even Oregon's not the only school that's dealing with this. The rest of college football is dealing with this. Brian Harsin just got fired at Auburn. Some players had already announced that they were entering the transfer portal prior to that news becoming official today, Monday morning, of Brian Harsin being out after just not even 2 full seasons. I thought that was really interesting, but don't want to deviate too much from the main story here. So I think with this report, it doesn't come as too much of a shock, just based on the usage this season and how much we've seen from him, as he's just tried to break through and find his role, and then find the way that he can be the most effective at Oregon and in this offense. But if this does end up becoming official, wish Seven nothing but the best. He's always been a pleasure to talk to during press conferences. Awesome young man. Just a lot of stuff going on in the past year or so. It's pretty tough. I think you just got to put yourself in his shoes. He did lose his father in the past year, which is a super hard event for anybody to go to. I can't imagine being in that position. So I definitely want to be sensitive, talking about this whole matter, and wishing him all the best. So we're gonna have to see what Dan Lanning says, and what other information becomes readily available on this topic. But just wanted to get a quick podcast, get a quick video recorded and posted here. So that's what we have for you guys today on this quick episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. Make sure you follow me and lock in on social media platforms. At mTorres Sports is where you can follow me on Twitter. If you're watching on YouTube, Oregon Football, Max Torres. Kindly ask that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future live streams. And leave me a comment, just kind of giving your thoughts on this report that Seven McGee intends to enter the transfer portal, and that he is no longer with the team, is currently not with the team, as reported by Matt Zenitz of On3 and James Crepia of the Oregonian. So that'll do it for us here on this episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting, and do me a favor and share the Ducks Dish podcast with your friends, family, and other Duck fans. Should be interesting start to the week for Oregon with this report as they get ready to hit the road to Boulder to face the Colorado Buffaloes here in Week 10 at the top of the Pac-12. So we will see you guys in the next episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you guys later.